It's the battle of the evolutions as Jolteon goes for a hyper voice, but Flareon hangs on with 3%. Hi friends, my name is factually and contractually Frankie, and welcome back to Gotta Dragon Ball Stars, the best and maybe the only place on the internet to see two queens duke it out with 6v6 Pokemon battles. If you missed out on episode 3, let me give you a quick recap. Gia won the battle and got to stay, while Detox sashayed away.
What privilege.
Caught up? Okay, good. Here's how our queens are stacking up against each other so far in this season. And while we're at it, don't forget to like this video and hit that subscribe button below. Do it for me and do it for the queens. Now, why don't we head into the workroom and see how the queens are feeling after the latest elimination. Ooh, girl, what's poppin'? Hello, my queens! What comes after yes and? Well, I'm waiting. For this week's Maxi Challenge, you'll be creating an advert on the spot, improv style. I can't wait to see how this turns out. Improv/advert challenges aren't as popular as a challenge like Snatch Game, but luckily most of the queens remaining in our competition have participated in one. If we take a look at their placements, it looks like Raven, Manila, and Asia have each won some sort of improv or advert challenge on their original seasons. Of these three, I'll give the individual win to Asia, who not only won an advert challenge on season 10, but was also safe in 2 other challenges in this category. That means I'll bump Raven and Manila down to high placements. Nina Flowers, Crystal Method, and Saphira have all placed high at least once in these kinds of challenges, but since I bumped Raven and Manila down to high, I'll bump these 3 down to safe. And while Gia and Irene didn't really have any of these challenges under their belts, I'm gonna put Irene as safe, and Kimchi and Gia as low. That leaves us with the 2 queens who have been in the bottom for a challenge like this on their original season, and that's Shuga Cain and Willam. Now that we know who our bottom 2 are, let's take a look at the teams they'll be battling with. For Willam, the first Pokemon I chose is Sandslash, based on the shape of and color of her hair and spiky hip pads from her Season 4 promo pic. Sandslash is primarily a physical attacker. Its ability is Sand Rush, which doubles its speed if a sandstorm is active. Meanwhile, its Choice Band will significantly boost the power of its moves like Earthquake, Gunk Shot, and X-Scissor. Rapid Spin to remove Stealth Rocks rounds out its moveset. Next, we have Hatterene, who I chose based on Willam's girly girl couture look from Season 4, Episode 2, with the pinky frills on the bottom and the light blues on top. Hatterene has some pretty good stats, primarily in its special attack and special defense. For Willam, Hatterene will be more of a supportive and special defensive wall with the ability Magic Bounce to bounce certain status moves back at their user and the item leftovers. Thunderwave and Mystical Fire are both great supportive moves, while Hatterene can also dish out decent damage with Dazzling Gleams and Shadow Balls. Next up, I chose Simipour, based on this one specific blue look from her Boy Zabata music video. Simipour is mainly going to serve as a speedy special attacker for Willam. Like we've seen before, its ability Gluttony will allow it to eat its Aguav Berry at half health rather than at a quarter health, and while it can poison its enemies with Toxic, it'll really want to dish out damage with moves like Scald or Focus Blast. Next, I chose Chestnut based on the look Willam wore for the Season 16 promo of her Race Chaser podcast, with Willam's blonde pigtails representing Chestnut's, beige spikes on its back and the overall green and brown color scheme. Chestnut is just a beast when it comes to physical defense and offense. It's holding the Rocky Helmet to deal damage to anything that comes into contact with it, while its ability Bulletproof gives it immunity to bullet and ball-esque moves like Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb. It also has some great stab moves in Drain Punch and Wood Hammer. Next, we have Jolteon, who I chose based on Willam's All-Stars 9 Race Chaser promo pic, for it just generally being big and gold and shimmery, which I thought paired well with Jolteon. Jolteon is one of the OG Glass Cannon type Pokemon with super high speed, good special attack, but pretty low HP and defenses. Its ability Volt Absorb allows it to heal up if attacked by an electric type move, while Choice Specs boosted Volt Switches or Thunderbolts will complement Jolteon's already incredibly high special attack stat. Lastly, I chose Stonejourner because nobody was killed at Stonewall, or Stonejourner. Stonejourner has incredibly high HP, attack, and defense stats, but really pitiful special defense. It's holding a Citrus Berry to give it a little bit extra survivability and is loaded with powerful moves like Stone Edge, Earthquake, and Body Press. Overall, Willam's team is super well balanced with 3 special attackers in Hatterene, Simipour, and Jolteon, and 3 physical attackers in Chestnut, Sandslash, and Stonejourner. Each of her physical attackers also have pretty good physical defenses, while Jolteon specifically is a Pokemon that can be a super powerful late game sweeper with such high speed and special attack stats.
I love the ideas that I had. I wish I had more time to execute them.
Alright, moving on to Shuga's team, it starts off with Chandelure, who is based on Shuga's ooky spooky dark and purpley entrance look. Chandelure has an incredibly high special attack stat and will be looking to dish out as much damage as fast as possible. It's holding the Choice Specs to help boost its special attack even further, while its ability Flash Fire allows it to absorb fire type attacks and retaliate with Flamethrower, Shadow Ball, or Energy Ball. Its 4th move is Trick, which could catch enemies off guard by swapping items with them and then locking them into whatever move they've chosen. Next up we have Drapion, who is known as the Ogre Scorpion Pokemon, and Shuga's What's Your Sign runway is based on her Scorpio zodiac sign. Drapion is more of a defensive Pokemon for Shuga with pretty good defense, HP, and attack stats. The item Black Sludge will act as leftovers for Drapion, while its ability Battle Armor means it cannot be critically hit. It also has some great stab moves in Knockoff and Poison Jab to do some respectable damage. Next up, we have Mamoswine, who is based on Shuga's Fringe runway with Shuga's eye mask makeup represented by Mamoswines and similar shades of browns and teals overall. Mamoswine has some really good attack and HP stats, and Shuga will be boosting Mamoswine's attack even further by giving it the Choice Band to power up its moves like Avalanche, Ice Shard, and Earthquake. The ability Thick Fat will halve the damage of incoming fire or ice type attacks to give this Pokemon even more durability. Next, I chose Flareon for Shuga's Orange Alert runway with the blonde wig reminiscent of Flareon's blonde tufts and tail. Flareon is primarily a physical attacker, but it has some respectable special defense as well. It'll be holding the Toxic Orb so that it can trigger its Guts ability, which boosts its attack by 1.5 times when it has a status effect. Trailblaze can help boost its speed by 1 stage, and super powerful moves like Flare Blitz and Superpower means that Flareon will be a massive threat. Next, we have Archeops, who is based on Shuga's All That Glitters is Gold look for the matching blue-green feathers and yellowish gold bodies. Archeops has some really great attack and speed stats. Its major drawback though is its ability Defeatist, which will halve its own attack stats if it has less than half of its HP remaining. To help combat this, it's holding heavy duty boots to prevent damage from Stealth Rocks. Meanwhile, its moveset is all about going on the offense with moves like Acrobatics, Head Smash, Earthquake, and Crunch. Lastly, we have Muck, who I chose based on Shuga's Purple Sequins look. Muck is pretty bulky overall with good HP, attack, and special defense stats. An Assault Vest will give its special defense even more of a boost, while its ability Poison Touch will give its contact moves like Knockoff or Drain Punch a 30% chance to poison its target. It also has the move Explosion, which Shuga could use to catch her opponents off guard. Overall, Shuga's team definitely leans towards being really strong physically, with powerful physical attackers in Flareon, Drapion, Archeops, and Mamoswine. Muck can also chip in with physical damage, but will primarily be a special defensive wall, while Chandelure is Shuga's only special attacker. However, with 4 of Shuga's Pokemon weak to water-type moves, she'll definitely need to be careful if she sees water Pokemon on her opponent's teams.
Get ready, y'all, cause this Shuga is so sweet.
Looks like our trainers are just about ready for their battle. So, without further ado, Rue, over to you.
Willam, Shuga Cain. I'm sorry, my dear, but you are up for elimination. 2 queens, stand before me. Ladies, this is your last chance to impress me and save yourself. from elimination. The time has come. Reach
Pokemon battle.
for your life. Good luck, and don't it up.
Willam leads with Stonejourner, while Shuga brings out Mamoswine. We have Stealth Rocks coming out, and yeah, it looks like both trainers are just going to take the first turn to set up Stealth Rocks on the field. And this next turn, Shuga's actually going to swap into Drapion here, and is able to take that Stone Edge pretty well. Drapion goes for that Earthquake, but oh my gosh, Stonejourner is just so tanky. Willam definitely has the upper hand here, as it goes for a Earthquake of its own. Shuga's gonna go for a layer of Toxic Spikes here, and basically is gonna let Drapion go down to get that entry hazard up. Shuga's gonna bring in Chandelure here, who takes some damage from Stealth Rocks, and is actually able to surprise Willam with a powerful Energy Ball to one-shot Stonejourner and even up the game. Willam brings out Simipour, who's gonna take some damage and get poisoned. Shuga wants to keep Chandelure healthy, so she brings in Muck, who's gonna eat that Scald, and is unfortunately going to get burned. Willam is gonna swap now into Sandslash, and it's gonna get poisoned by those Toxic Spikes and get its Choice Band knocked off by Muck. Sandslash will actually go for that Rapid Spin to clear the hazards off of Willam's side of the field. Meanwhile, Shuga goes for a Hail Mary Explosion. It's not enough damage because of that burn, and Sandslash just hangs on. In comes Mamoswine for Shuga, and thanks to Ice Shard, we'll be able to take Sandslash out without any trouble. Willam responds with Chestnut, and Shuga will swap into Chandelure here, who is going to be immune to that Drain Punch. In comes Simipour for Willam, who is going to eat that Flamethrower, just barely, and triggers its Citrus Berry, or its Ogwaff Berry for some healing. Scald comes out, and Shuga will just let Chandelure go down here, as Willam's Simipour is going to take a little bit more damage from that poison. Willam is up 4-3 at this point, but that lead is short-lived as Archeops gets the Revenge KO onto Simipour. Willam brings in Jolteon, and Shuga is going to swap into Mamoswine here to try to avoid any electric-type attacks as Jolteon's Volt Switch here is nullified. Willam's going to have to hard swap into another Pokemon as Chestnut comes in and takes 34% from that Earthquake. Shuga swaps back into Archeops, who is going to take some big damage from that Drain Punch, taking it below half health, which will trigger its Defeatus ability, lowering its power overall. Acrobatics comes in, and Chestnut survives like a champ thanks to that Defeatist ability, and is able to take out Archeops with that Drain Punch. Willam is taking the lead once again as Shuga brings in Flareon, and Willam is just going to let Chestnut go down here so that she can get a safe switch in into her next Pokemon. Jolteon comes out here, and it's the battle of the evolutions as Jolteon goes for a Hyper Voice, but Flareon hangs on with 3% and gets the Oko onto Jolteon with that Flare Blitz. Flareon will also go down to that poison damage though. Both trainers are down to one Pokemon as Willam brings in Hatterene and Shuga brings in Mamoswine. Earthquake comes in, and Shuga gets the critical hit and takes Hatterene out in a single attack, and Shuga will win the battle.
Shuga Cain, Shantae, you stay. Willam, sashay away.
Regret's kind of like a fool's game. Can't change anything that I did, and there's no use spending any time dwelling on it.
Okay, that was incredible. Both queens played this game so well. Willam and her Jolteon nearly snatched that win away, but they really could not risk going for an electric type attack because of Mamoswine still being in the back for Shuga. So they had to use Hyper Voice, and shout out to Flareon for surviving on 3% health and then taking Jolteon out. This really opened the door for Mamoswine to come in and take Hatterene out and win Shuga the battle. For me, the most valuable Pokemon was really between Willam's Jolteon and Shuga's Flareon, but at the end of the day, I had to give it to Flareon, who not only survived that huge attack from Jolteon, but was able to KO the Chestnut and KO Jolteon. Another queen bites the dust, and I would have considered Willam to be a frontrunner at this point with 3 high placements before this episode. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles. You never know what could happen, so don't miss out on episode 5, dropping in 2 weeks. Bye!